Hi, I'm audible. Good evening and welcome to the class.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, today we are going to see the new section, section E, right? Actually, it is mentioned as section B, that's okay. So this we are going to talk about the section E. Yeah. The section E consists of the investment decisions, right? So this actually going to give you the capital budgeting process, right? So here, what are we going to do? The company is going to invest on a long term projects. So it has to calculate whether this particular project, whether it is viable as per the company's required expected return, or when we are going to select 2, 3 projects, which one is going to become the best one for that company. So in this generally, we are going to talk about what is the capital budgeting process, and we are also going to talk about how do we decide on the projects, because the management accountants, they are going to become the important person to give the company's relevant information for taking decisions. So they are supposed to give which project is beneficial to the company. So how do we do that? That's what we are going to see in this particular chapter. It is a very simple chapter, in fact, easy to understand if you pick up some few important points. Right. Today's class, I'm seeing Fayaz Vargant. You are a new student, am I right? I'm seeing first time.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Okay. Amit Pal Singh, I was seen you earlier. Okay, right. I think fantastic. Right. Now we are getting into the class. So when you talk about the investment decisions, right? What we're going to see is the capital budget. So when you talk about the capital budgeting, right? What we do whenever we take a project, for that project, what the company has to spend first, right? Whenever your project you are going to invest, you have to spend some money. You have to invest some money. So that money has to be utilized for the project, and the project has to run. You have to implement the project, then it has to run. When the project is going to run, you are going to get lot of cash flows, cash inflows or outflows according to the project. Then at the end of the project has to be closed. So any project normally, it starts from the starting point and running the project and closing the project. So this is the way any project is going to work. Okay, other than we can say, if I'm going to have a company, ongoing company, right? Different question. When you're going to have a project for a project which is going to have a specific life, in such cases, you are going to have these 3 levels. So project could be even if you want to buy a machinery for your company. So when you're going to buy a machinery for the company, what are you going to consider? What is the initial cost of the machinery? When the machinery is going to run, what I'm going to get out of that? And also what I'm going to see is at the end of the life of the machinery, what are the other expenditure I'm going to expect? Say for example, some of the areas, if the machinery life is over, then you have to remove the machinery, right? So such time there is a possibility you may have to spend some money for removing that. or sometime that machinery can be sold, so you may get even some cash flow out of that, right? So this is a way in the capital budgeting. When we are going to do budgeting, it is going to be called long-term budgeting. So in the long-term budgeting, we have to compare so many available projects, then we are going to give our this recommendation for the company so that they can take a proper decision. When you talk about the capital budgeting, there are 6 stages we have to follow. What is it? It's very simple. Number 1, identification stage. See, the identification stage, right, is which type of product you want to do, because each and every company will have a different ideologies. Somebody will not do this business, somebody will not do that business. Like that, they may have a different ideology. So first you have to identify what are the type of project the company want to do, because it's all depends upon company's objectives. So that is called the identification stage. The number 2 is, once you know what type of project you are going to end, then you have to select the project. There could be a lot of projects available. There could be a lot of alternative available. So you have to select whatever available in the market. So first we select the type of project which suits the company's objectives. Then on that basis, we have to select what are the available projects in the market. Then once that is there, when you selected some 5 or 6 projects, for example, then you have to collect the information about on each and every project, because each and every project may have a different. There could be one project which may require 1 million investment. There could be one project which may require only 300,000 investment. There could be one project which may require 500,000 investment. So like this, there could be one project which may even give some 100,000 every year. There could be a second project, it may give 60,000 every year. And there could be a third project which may give some 70,000 per year. So it's all depends upon that. Means what we do, we are going to collect the information regarding that particular projects. So first what we did, we have decided which type of project is suitable to the organizational objectives, and we collect all the relevant projects. Then whatever the relevant projects we have considered, we are going to collect the required information. Once you are going to get the information, then you have to work. Now this is a selection process. That means once you collected the information, then you have to do lots of workings. Then you have to see how the particular project is going to give the profitability to the company, whether it is expected returns you are going to get. All those things has to be calculated in between 3 and 4. So a moment that is being done on the 4, you can have the ranking of project. Normally we consider 2-3 projects and we rank it 1-2-3 like this. Then on that basis, the management will consider which project they want to take. So the selection stage is the 4th stage, where after doing the proper analysis from the information we have collected, so on that basis of recommendation, we are going to do the selection. So when you do the selection, normally as an accountant, we always consider the financial information. But before selecting it, there could be some ideas. There could be some information which is a non-financial. Those information also to be considered by the selection committee. As an accountant, we may not know, we may know or we may not know, but not sure. Sometimes we know, sometimes we may not know. That's fine. But as far as when you know some of the information which is not a non-financial information, also can be added in your report. That's what it says. Okay. What you're saying, under the selection process, when you are going to give the recommendation to the your top management, we normally consider all the financial information because that's fine. We have the data, we know how to do that. But there could be some of the other information which can be added so that the decision makers can have a better idea, right? Next one. Once the selection is done, then as a finance guy, we have to arrange the proper financing, right? We have to do the financing. So that means the fund is arranged. There are ways we can arrange the fund. We have already studied capital raising, correct? Long-term funding, equity method, right? By through a IPO, by preference share or bond, or by loan, right? So many methods we have studied. How to be equity financing, we can do that. How do we capital rising the capital, we have studied in detail. So that has to be used here. Then after that, you have to implement that project. When you do the implementation, the most important one is when you do the implementation, there should be a control. What is the control? The project management. What is the project management? If it is a separate specific project management, we can have a project management control. If it is only a additional fixed asset or a machinery which has been added to the company, how do we do the control? You know that. What is it? You may be studying the variance analysis, right? We'll be studying the variance analysis in paper 1. So we do the analysis. How what is the budget has been done and what is the actual, where do we vary, how do we correct it? Those things are going to be in a control stage. So in the case of a capital budgeting, there are 6 main stages are going to be there. One is the identification stage, search stage, information and selection stage, financing stage, implementation and control stage. Okay, these are all the 6 stages for a capital budget. When we talk about a capital budgeting, we are going to consider the relevant cash flows. We don't just stop ourselves at profitability. We don't just stop with the numbers with the net income. We always concentrate on the relevant cash flows because that makes a big difference for making the decision. Right? When you talk about the relevant cash flows, we know what is that? What are the cash flows normally possible in any project? There could be a inflow and there could be a outflow. What is the inflow normally? Inflow is nothing but the revenue which is going to be generated for that. Then for the outflow, what is the outflow is going to become? The outflow is could be for your cost. Whatever the material you are going to use, whatever the utility you are going to use, whatever the salary you are going to buy, and whatever the other overhead expenses you are going to make, those things are going to become cost or out. So normally what we do, we consider the relevant revenue and the cost or out cash flows. We have to see that. So when you do these consideration, then we'll be able to find out what is the net cash flow generated from that project. So we'll be able to find out that very easily. Suppose if you are going to have 2 different and you consider, then we can find out what is the cash generation in this particular project A, the cash going to be generated in the point B. When you compare it, this, which one is the more, which one is less? That is what is the incremental revenue or the cash flows, right? So that is the way we normally find out. When you talk about the expected cash flows, when you're going to talk about the expected cash flow, how do we calculate for the purpose of decision making? It is not the general cash flow what we do in the case of our cash flow statement. There is a small correction or there is a small consideration of the relevant information. So whenever we are going to find out that, what do we do that? When you're going to find out the cash flows, we normally find out the cash flow right after tax. We are going to find out the cash flows after tax. That is the first condition. The first condition what we find out is we are going to find out the cash flows after tax. That's the most important point. So whatever the cash flow, other things, we'll be able to calculate accordingly. So whenever we consider the cash flows after tax, we are going to consider at the three level. What is that? One is the starting of the project. What is the starting of the project? The starting of the project means the initial one. In the initial, what are things possible? You may have to buy a particular machinery. When you're going to buy a machinery, what are the cost of that machinery? So for that, when are going to pay that amount? Those things are going to play a part of the starting of the project or beginning of the project. Then once the project started, when the project is going to work, when the project is on the process, then each and every year that particular project may give you some revenue, right? May give some revenue. When you're going to get some revenue, during that process, you may also incur some cost. So, during the normal operation of that particular project which you are going to select, which may give you revenue as well as cost. So, you have to find out what is the net, whether it is cash inflow or cash outflow. Preferably, it should be a cash inflow because we select a normally to make money. So normally it is going to become a cash inflow. But there are some cases it may be also cash outflow, right? In some other cases, it may be outflow also, right? Fantastic. So that's the case. What is going to happen here when you're going to find out the cash flow, as I told you, we have to remember this two things. One is, what is it? One is you are going to consider the cash, not the net income. This information, please keep it in mind. Because what happens when you're going to study the section A, when you're going to study the all other sections, you will get slightly confused with so many numbers because so many number areas, so many sums you consider net. In so many calculation, you consider the EBIT, right? So normally with these information, when you come to this decision making of capital budgeting, you get the students used to get confused. Somebody will take EBIT operating income as a in net income instead of net income, or somebody will take only the net income or net income before tax, like that they will take. So you have to remember very clearly, for the purpose of capital budgeting decision, you have to consider the cash flow after tax. Remember somewhere, make a note down in your notebook, put a square and put a mark. This is the most important thing because other calculations are simple. Once you know that, then most of the students will not do mistakes. So that's the only point I would like to stress here. Right. So you're going to find out the cash flow after tax. When you do the cash flow after tax, there is one small point, one more additional point which differ from the other areas I would like to add. What is it? See, normally, I think everybody would have known about the cash flows, right? In your section A, you know how to make the cash flows, everything. The simplest form of cash flows, how many of you remember? The simplest form of cash flows
So
is,
cash and flow.
yeah, simplest form of cash flow. Cash flow means the net cash flow I'm talking about here, right?
Yes, sir.
The
Cash inflow minus cash outflow.
exactly. But suppose if you want to calculate a thumb rule straight away from the income statement, how will you derive the cash flow? Simplest way as a thumb rule. Any idea? There is a P&L given, right? So I'm asking you, what is the cash flow? What is the possible cash flow?
So in all
Let's say there
income
is no
line.
much, uh,
Yes, sir.
yeah, there is no much provisions and other things. Everything, whatever we have accounted in the P&L, all whatever that we actually spent is been done. So how do we derive a cash flow? The simplest way is easiest way or a generalized way, right? How do we do? We know that there is a net income. The net income is whatever the revenue minus whatever the expenses. Correct? But here only one thing is going to be there. There are some non-cash flow expenses have been accounted under the accrual accounting process. Am I right? So if you want to convert the net income into the cash flows, what are you supposed to do? Whatever the non-cash expenses which has been already accounted under the accrual accounting, just add back the net income. That is going to give you the cash flows. Simplest way. I'm telling you the simplest way, right? So, if you want to find out the cash flow of an operation, the easiest way what we can do is net income plus non-cash expenses which have been accounted. In general, as a project is concerned, what could be the non-cash expenses when you talk about the project is concerned? What could be? What could be the non-cash expenses which normally account?
It's a depreciation expense.
Exactly. You are right, Ekta. Thank you. See, if you see in most of the companies, the depreciation accounting is going to become the expense which is a non-cash expense. So, as a thumb rule, if you are going to calculate the cash flow of your project from the net income what you are going to get, you can just add back the depreciation expenses. That will be equal to the cash flow. Am I right? Everybody follows this point, right? So the cash flow can be derived unless otherwise some other information is provided. But for a project, normally we don't have lot of accrual things. Yeah, we normally have only the depreciation. Yeah, that you can remember. If anything other things given, you can add back, no problem. Generally, for a project accounting, not much accrual accounting will be there, only the depreciation will be there. So if you want to convert your net income into the cash flow, then you have to add back the depreciation expenses, right? So now you got the cash flow. Now there is one point I would like to add it here. What is it? There is a depreciation expense. Am I right? Say for example, if your net income is $1,000, that is before tax, that is EBT, earnings before tax is $1,000. If the company is under the 30% of the corporate tax, what will be the tax you are going to pay? you are going to pay $30. So your net income is $70. Correct? Imagine in this, the $100 which has been derived, in this, actually, there is a depreciation expenses which we have not spent. Am I right? For the depreciation expense, have you spent anything? No. We only account it as an expense. It is not an actual cash flow. Right? So, even though you have not spent the money, you are able to get a tax rebate on that. Am I right or not? You are able to get a tax rebate on that, on the depreciation amount. So that tax rebate, that means you are not paying tax for that. Even though you are not spent, you are not paying for it, right? So that is an additional cash flow you have to consider for the purpose of capital budgeting. So what are three things now we consider? Number one, we consider the cash flow. That's the point number one. Number two, how do we derive the cash flow? Easiest thumb rule is the net income plus the depreciation expenses or any other non-cash expenses. Generally, depreciation will be there in the case of a project. Number three, because of the depreciation expense, which is not a cash flow, the company has been benefited by a percentage of the tax. To that level, you are getting a additional income, additional profit for the company because you were not spent, but you're showing a spent. So for that, you are not paying tax. That means there is a tax savings. We call this as depreciation shield. What is depreciation shield? The depreciation shield is nothing but whatever the depreciation amount into the tax percentage. That amount is known as depreciation shield. So during the project, when you are going to calculate the income, for the purpose we are going to consider the cash flow. For the purpose of cash flow, we derive normally by net income plus the depreciation, and we also consider the tax shield portion has to be added so that that is going to become the total cash flow from the project for the decision purpose. Then when you go to the third one, that is end of the project. When you're going to talk about the end of the project, what are we going to talk? That means the life of the project is over. The life of a missionary is going to be over. That means once that is over, then you may have to replace the missionary or you may have to remove the missionary. When you're replacing or removing the missionary, there are possible things. What is this? You can sell the missionary. There could be a buyer for that. Correct? So if you are going to be able to sell the missionary, then you will be able to get some cash inflows by selling some amount. Fantastic. That's one. Number two, when you want to remove this, there are additional expenditure possible. You have to remove that machinery from the installation. Sometimes a big machinery, you may have to even remove your shed. Then only the machinery can be moved out, right? Or that machinery has to be disposed in a particular manner. For that, you may have to spend some amount, right? So the end of the project, these things are going to be there. What is it? You may get some cash inflow by selling that machinery if a buyer is available. Number two, there could be some additional expenditures. There could be some additional expenditure is going to be there. Here also, what's going to happen? If the machinery you are going to sell, there could be a book value. When the book value and the selling is going to be there, you may get some gain or loss. Both are possible, right? Both are possible. If it is going to become loss, then what are you going to get? You are going to get some depreciation shield also, right? So that has to be considered. So what we consider in the case of starting a point, what is the investment you are going to make? During the project, we are going to take the cash flow and the tax shield. At the end of the project, we are going to see what is the net cash flows plus if any tax shield is there, we are going to consider, right? So these are the three important points where we have to consider in the case of any project decision you are going to take. So this is what given initial investment to purchase the fixed asset. Well, that means it could be a cost or it could be a setup process or even testing cost that we know that we have studied as inventoryable cost. Am I right? We have studied as how we are going to value the asset at the time of buying that. Yeah, incorporation of asset. We have studied what are all the items you can add it to the capital expenditures. We already studied in our section A that you can remember. Next one, initial working capital investment. What is that working capital investment? During the project, you may have to put some other money, even though you have invested on the machinery, there could be some money you have to deploy for the operation purpose. Well, for example, you may have to buy a raw material, you may have to pay the salaries of the employees, right? These are two main expenditures going to be there. So this for this purpose, you may have to invest some money. That is called the initial working cap investment. But normally what happens when the working capital investment is going to be done for a project, once the project is going to be completed, then the working capital amount will be taken back by the company. Because that's only a temporary investment. Working capital investment is a temporary investment. Right. Next one, cash received from disposal of old machine. Right. So if you're going to have a old machine, if you're going to dispose that, whatever the cash, whether it is going to get inflow or not, that has to be considered. Right. Now, next one. Now, if since you have implemented the new project or a new machinery, there is a possibility that the new machinery, because of the introduction of the new machinery, you may get an increased sale. So, what could be the possible increase in sale because of this particular machinery? That has to be considered for the project cash flows. And because of the new machinery, there could be other expenses you may have reduced. Because of the new technology, you may even have a low number of persons. The earlier 10% is working. Now, because of the new machinery, all electronic auto control, only two operators is enough. So you may save another 4 employees cost or something like that. So that has to be considered. So what is the increased revenue and what is the decreased operating expenses has to be considered, right? So when you do that, whatever the operation cost during that, any maintenance is required, any specific raw material is required, right? Any special spare parts to be purchased for that, those has to be considered, right? And as we discussed, the working capital is has to be done, and we always consider for the capital budgeting decision, we always take the depreciation tax shield. What is a depreciation tax shield? We already studied in detail. We have explained that because the depreciation is not a cash outflow, but as per the IFRS and US GAAP, they allow that to take it as an expenses. So when they are going to allow that to take it as an expenses. So for that expense, you are not paying the tax. That means there is a gain on the tax that is known as the tax shield. To calculate the tax shield, the formula is the total depreciation amount into the tax rate. That's going to become the tax shield. So depreciation tax shield is nothing but the depreciation amount into the tax percentage, right? And at the end of the period, we already discussed the cash received on disposal of the equipment and the recovery of working capital. What is that? Whatever the investment you make, right? You are going to take back that the working capital because that's a temporary investment. So when you are going to take the recovery of working capital, are we going to pay tax for that? No. Why? Because it's like a cash, something we have invested, which is going to be taken back. So there is no tax on that. So there is no tax effect on the recovery of working capital. This point, everybody please note down because in the sums they give this, people take that also while doing the calculation. So what are the important points you already note down in your book? Number one, you said there are three stages under the project. That means at the case of investment and the operation and the disposal. In the case of investment, whatever the fund which is going to outflow, that we are going to consider. During the operation, we are going to consider the net cash outflow or inflow, right? Not the net income. If the net income is given, then we can easily calculate the cash flow by using the thumb rule, net income plus depreciation. So that is going to become the cash flow. Then the cash flow is fine. Along with that, we are going to consider a amount called depreciation tax shield because for the depreciation we are not paying tax, so that much gain we are getting it. So that amount we are going to add it to the total cash flow. So that is during the operation. So during the operation, we also should consider any incremental revenue or any decrease in the cost. That has to be considered. The final one, end of the project is over, when the life is over, when you are going to sell the machinery. By selling the machinery, if you are going to get any amount, so that has to be considered. That's a cash inflow. And there is a working capital which you have invested during the operation that will be taken back at the end of the project. So even though it is shown like a amount is coming in, it is not so. It is only a temporary parking which is based on the project. We have taken it back. So for the working capital, no tax effect. Okay. So these are all the important points. Hope everybody is clear. Then whenever we do the depreciation, there are a lot of methods you would have studied. What are the methods you remember when you talk about depreciation? How many of you remember what kind of depreciation? One person can give one method of depreciation.
So a straight line and WDV, written down value method.
Okay. Any other person? Any other things?
So sum of digits method also.
Okay. Any other person like to answer? Any other method you remember? Hmm?
I think sinking fund method will not be used nowadays.
No, sinking fund method is not there. You can have the unit method or the time method. Yeah. According to the unit production method. Thank you. Yeah. Any other method? Double declining method. Nobody remember? Eh? Important, right? Double declining method. What is the difference between double declining method and other method? What is the main difference? Anybody remember?
So
Sorry?
is it reducing balance method? Am I right?
No, no, it is not exactly reducing method. It is a double declining method. That is
Like channel.
double
Yes,
the
sir.
method. See, double declining method means double the percentage, right? What is the main difference between double declining method and the normal, so for example, straight line method? In the case of double dictionary method, we don't consider the salvage value. We don't consider the salvage value. That you have to remember. Okay, that's and there is one more method. Anybody remember? Anybody remember one more method? You would already studied if I'm right. MACRS. What is it? Modified Accelerated Cost Recovery System. Am I right? Okay. So that is also a method available. Okay. So these are all the methods you have to remember. But fortunately, for CMA, they normally 99% they give only a straight line method. Okay. Very rarely, I have not heard so far. Very rarely they ask you to find out other method. One other method what they give is the MACRS. What is MACRS? Anybody remember or anybody?
Modified accelerated cost recovery system.
What is it? What is it exactly?
So basically, not a clear glimpse I have, but an idea is like depreciation can be charged on the basis of changed value, like al
See,
altered
modified.
value.
Okay. Modified accelerated cost recovery system is some of a technically analyzed one. With that, what do they give? They find out for an industry and for a particular type of machineries, the government will give you some kind of percentage which you can use it as a depreciation percentage. Say, for example, first year they'll give you 10%. Yeah. Second year they'll give you 23%. Third year 33%. Fourth year 12%. Fifth year 8%. Something like that. Right? So how do they give? They give according to that particular machinery, what class it belongs to, right? And how that particular industry is working. In some industry, how do they work? They start with a slow. First year it will be very slow. From second year it will pick up, and third year it will go to the peak, and fourth year it will come down. Fifth year it will die. So like this, it is going to be there. So according to the usage and the market fluctuations, there is a convention is going to be there. They meet every 6 months convention normally. So this they decide on the percentage. So that percentage also given in some other sums. So you should be able to know to calculate. They give you the percentage. I think you'll be able to calculate the depreciation. That should not be any problem, right? So that you can calculate. These are two methods I have seen in my service. Other methods so far I have not come across. But however, it is not going to make a big difference for you because only for the purpose of, yeah, you are going to calculate depreciation. So only for depreciation normally, even if the MACRS, they will give you the percentage. You don't need to calculate the percentage. But for CPA, you may have to. For CMA, don't worry, right? When you're talking about the cash flows, we have to talk about the sunk cost and allocated common cost and financing cash flows. So in the project, the sunk cost. What is the sunk cost? Some of the cost which has been already spent, which has been already spent before taking the decision of that particular project, the amount is already spent. So if you take the project A or if you are going to take the project B, is that whatever the amount we have spent, is it going to affect the project? No. Why? Because it is already we have accounted. We we have already incurred those costs. So, for the purpose of the decision making, we don't consider the sunk cost. We don't consider the common cost. The common cost also something like that. It is permanent. Whether you take this project or that project, it's going to be that. And a financing cash flow. If we are going to take a loan, then it's not going to become important for selecting the particular project, right? So to understand this, let us do a small sum. There is a CMA Products Company Inc. is considering the purchase of new piece of equipment to introduce a new project line. The equipment will cost 125,000, including setup cost, installation, and testing. That means that is the total cost. The estimated before tax annual cost flow from the operation is 50,000. So they have given before tax. Fantastic. And the investment will require initial investment in working capital 25,000. The estimated salvage value is 10,000. The CMA company has effective income tax rate 30%. So note down these relevant numbers and things. Equipment cost is 125. Earnings before tax is 50,000. Working capital is 25,000. Salvage value is 10,000. And income tax percentage 30%. And what is the life of that particular machinery? The particular machinery is considered to be 9 years. So, as per the MACRS, the following are the percentage of depreciation for year 1, 14.29. How this was found, sir? It is already given. You don't worry. Right? So, like year 2, 24.49, year 3, year 4, year 5, like this, they will give you all the percentage. Now, your duty only to find out the depreciation amount for each and every year. That's all. Right? In the sum, it's clearly given. There are 8 years. Each and every year, they have given you the percentage of depreciation. Right? So, now, what are the consideration? Initial investment. What is the initial investment? 125,000. Yeah, 125,000 they have to pay for buying that machinery. And another 25,000 they have to invest for the working capital. So that is equipment given. So we don't bother about that. So now the total investment made initially is going to become 150,000. So when you talk about this, there is a cash outflow at the initial period of the project is 150,000. Am I not audible? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay, I think somebody said, Harish said I'm not audible. Is it okay, Harish, now?
Sir, little bit disturbance is coming, sir.
Maybe, I don't know, my signal seems to be okay. Check your connectivity and internet. Because I have an audio meter here, which will show it's fine. Yeah? Yeah, no problem. Tell me if you are missed some points, I can repeat, that's not a problem. Yeah. If you feel something is not audible and you cannot follow, not to worry, you can ask me, I can even repeat it again. Yeah, fine, that's fine. Initial investment, what we are going to make is the 150,000. Now, as I told you, During the operation, what is the amount they are going to get? They clearly said 50,000 is the cash flow. They are given cash flow straight away, right? Cash flow 50,000 before tax. So, but what we said, we have to find out in the case of cash flow after tax. So you have to pay the tax for that. That means 30% means cash flow into 1 minus 30%, which is going to be equal to 35,000. So in this project, each and every year, 35,000 net cash inflow is going to be there. So the second point is covered. What is the third point? Anybody remember? During the operation, we find out the cash flow, then that too after tax. Then there is one more amount we have to add, I told you. What is it? Anybody remember? Anybody remember that? Depreciation tax shield. Correct? So, what are you supposed to do? For the operation, we have to calculate each and every year what is the depreciation shield. For that, what is the formula I said? Depreciation amount into the tax percentage amount. So now we know the depreciation amount for the year 1 is 14.29 percentage, which is 17862. If that is the case, like this, we'll be able to find out all the year depreciation. So each and every year, we have to find out the 30% of it, which is nothing but 30% into the depreciation amount. So this 5359 is the depreciation shield for the year 1. 9184 is the depreciation shield for the year 2. 6559 is the depreciation shield for the year 3. So like this, you will be able to calculate for all the 9 years as per the given depreciation percentage, right? Now, what we know what is the initial one, and we know during the operation what is the cash flow after tax, and we also know what is the depreciation shield amount. So the final one is disposal. The third level is disposal. How do we do the disposal here? The salvage value is 10,000, right? Book value is 0 because as per the depreciation calculation, it was 0. If the book value is 0, you are going to get 10,000 means it is a gain, right? It is a gain on sale of asset, correct? So when it is going to be a sale gain, then you have to pay tax. Then if you pay tax, what is the net cash flow you are going to get? 30% will go as a cash. So the remaining 7,000 will be a cash flow for the year 9. Because that is the end of the year, end of the period of the particular project. Is it clear?
Sir, how 7,000 came, but okay, into 30%. Yes, sir. Got
Yeah.
it.
Because see what happens, 10,000 is a gain, right? So that is the actual cash flow. But we have to take the cash flow after tax. So for the gain, whatever you get, you have to pay 30% tax. That means 3,000 you will pay as a tax. So what is the net you are going to get? 7,000. Okay?
Yes, sir. So once
Right.
can you
Yeah.
go to the previous slide? Like actually, I forgot that.
Tax
So
shield.
before, no, sir. Before this one only. Yes, sir. This one.
So
Okay.
initial investment is 150,000. Every year we are going to get 35,000 as the cash inflow after tax. And every year you are going to get tax shield like this. Then end of the period, you are going to dispose that particular machinery. From that, you are going to get 10,000 as the salvage value. At the end of the period, the book value is 0. So whatever the 10,000 you are getting is going to become the profit. If you are going to getting that as a profit, then you have to pay the tax. The tax is 30%. So you have to pay 3,000 as tax. So only 7,000 is the net cash inflow. So if you consider all those things in a table, year 0, that means the beginning of the project, what is the expenditure? 125 and 25. That is 150 is the cash outflow, which is given in red. Okay. Okay. And during the 9 years, 35,000, 35,000, 35,000 you are going to get. That's a cash flow after tax. And as I told you, there is a depreciation shield you have to consider on each and every year. As per the calculation, we have found out that. So with this, you'll be able to find out for the year 0, the outflow is 150,000. Year 1, the inflow is 4359. Like this, up to 8 year, the calculation is okay. But for the 9th year, you are going to get the working capital back. That is, whatever the 25,000 we have invested, we are going to take back that 25,000 plus the disposal, the after tax cash flow from the disposal, which is 7,000. If we add everything together, you are going to get 67,000. So, when you are doing the project, when you are going to calculate the cash flows from a given project, this is how we are going to calculate. Everybody able to follow this? Fantastic. Okay, right. So this is how you are going to calculate for any method the cash flows. All right. So when you are going to do the cash flows, the capital budgeting, we are going to use 4 methods here. What are they? One is payback method. Another one is discounted payback method. Okay. One is called payback method. Another one is called discounted payback method. Another one we have net present value, NPV method. Another one is called IRR method. And the fourth one is called accounting rate of return. So we are going to use any one of these 4 methods according to the company's requirement to recommend about the project's feasibility, right? Now, to understand this particular same way sum, there is a small sum given. If you can just see the sum and try to answer. What did they given? There is an 8-year project, right? They have given on the 8-year. They are not bothered about the initial. They are not bothered about the operation. In the question, they are talking about at the end of the period, end life. What is happening? End life. What they're saying, the equipment has to be removed. Okay, equipment has to be removed. But it has a depreciated value of 75,000 for the tax. And to remove that particular machinery, you have to spend $40,000. But there are somebody to buy that for $10,000. If that is the case, what is the of life cash flow? What is the end of life cash flow? So for that, what are the relevant cash flows? We know that 10,000 is the cash inflow, 40,000 is the cash outflow. That it's given very clearly. Now we have to find out what is the tax shield. How to find out that? How to find out? Anybody have any idea? How do we do this?
So we have to first compute the amount of depreciation. Then multiplied by the marginal tax rate. So we'll get the depreciation tax shield.
Depreciation tax shield. How much it is going to become according to you?
So I'm getting confused in calculating the amount of depreciation. So 75.
Okay, very simple. I'll just explain. The answer is 12,000. How are you going to get? See the book value. What I'm going to get here is, see 75,000 is there, right? And you are going to get additional expenditure of 30,000, right? We have 40 minus 10. So it is going to become 105, right? For that 105, you are going to get a 42,000 of the tax shield. So, right? So 42,000 is the tax shield and 30,000 is the cash outflow. So the net is 12,000.
So 42,000. After that, what?
42,000 is tax shield, right?
Yes, sir.
So what is the cash inflow? 10,000.
Yes, sir. Scrap
What is the
salary.
cash outflow? 40,000.
40,000.
So what is the tax shield? 42,000. Add everything.
So
10,000 minus 40,000 plus 42,000.
8,000.
10,000 minus
Yes.
40,000 plus 42,000.
Okay. 10,000 minus 40 plus 42.
Yes. Okay, because
12,000,
it is
sir.
tax. See, for the end of see, for any cash flow, what I told you, you have to take the cash flow after tax and you have to take the tax shield. Okay. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Answer is
Yes,
C,
sir.
sir.
Sorry. Answer is C. Yeah, you are right. Yeah, answer is C.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, tomorrow we will see about the methods in detail. Any specific question I would like to answer? Otherwise, we can say goodbye for the day.
Sir, I'm having some doubt. Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Sir, in depreciation. So how to like in different time periods, suppose we how we calculated once you show that table 9 PPT. So in
Yeah.
that table, how 35 came?
Okay. Let's go to the sum. Okay. Then you will understand. As per this sum, what did they say? They estimate that before tax annual cash flow from operation is 50,000. That means they said every year 50,000 they are going to get cash flow.
Yes, sir.
That means every year 50,000. You have to take after tax. What is the after tax cash flow?
Okay.
35,000 every year. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes.
so what I do? I put every year 35,000. Yeah.
So it's
Got it?
50. So after tax, is it given in the question or we need to calculate?
It's given in the question. No? You have to calculate that. See, it should be always after tax, right? They have given before tax. They have given the tax percentage. You have to derive.
Okay. Yes, I got it, sir. Yes, I got it,
We
sir.
have done, no? See, I'll show you that.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, here you see the 50,000. Then we use the formula CF into 1 minus T, which is 35,000.
Got it, sir.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Goodbye.